Right then, loves, I've got a very juicy one for you today. You probably will know the title already, of course. How to reintroduce intimacy when you dislike your body. This question was from one of my lovely listeners, and I was thrilled to answer it because this was a huge thing for me. I really took my time going through this. It was a massive part of my life. I would avoid intimacy and hide my body at all costs. So I'm going to share with you a little list of the things I used to do to avoid intimacy and to hide my body from my partner. I would never be naked ever, unless I was in the actual shower, in which case the door would always be locked. I would always have a towel or a dressing gown, pajamas, or clothes on my body. And if I was naked, I would be in a locked room. I would plan my timing perfectly. So when I wanted to get dressed or to get changed or to have a shower or whatever it may be, where I will be naked for a short period of time, I would wait to my partner, I would wait for my partner to go to the toilet or to go out or to do something where I knew that he wouldn't be able to disturb me and see my naked body because I thought it was so horrendous. I would, if he did initiate sex, I was too much of a people pleaser to say no, even if I didn't feel like it, which was most of the time in the way I felt about my body. I'd control the environment, the whole intimacy experience as much as possible by making sure the room was as dark as possible, body checking in the mirror on my own beforehand to try and convince myself that there was at least some parts of my body that was attractive. And that always made me feel worse because I could only see how disgusting I looked. I would make it all about him. So I would make it all about pleasing him, turning him on as much as possible, with as little exposure to my body as possible. I would only allow positions and angles where I felt my body looked less big. And then I sucked everything in and I'd try to arrange myself and my body to look as small and as sexy as possible. I was basically performing during intimacy. I was fully concentrating on him and him enjoying it, like I said, as much as possible. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this to be over because I couldn't allow myself to relax and let go and enjoy myself. I could only relax when it was over because then I'd be able to be safe and my body would be covered up and I wouldn't be exposed. I would fake noises, I would fake moaning. I would hide my body immediately afterwards and feeling relieved that he seemed to enjoy it. And then I knew that that would be it for a week or so. So it was like oh, okay, now that's done, then I can relax and it's not going to come up again for at least a week or so. I mean, can you relate to those things? What a way to connect to our partners, right? Hands up if you relate to any of those things, because those are things I used to do all the time, believe it or not, because wasn't too bad when I was doing the fitness modeling and when I was thin, but when I put weight on in recovery, that was my life. Didn't matter who I was with, didn't matter how much I loved the person. It was all about me. It had nothing to do with my partner, had nothing to do with our relationship, nothing to do with how I felt about him. And it had everything to do with me and how much I hated my body. I had so much shame around my body that I allowed it to stop me from being close and intimate with the person that I loved the most. And now I'm going to share with you what I did to support myself going from deep shame and avoidance around intimacy to being open, relaxed, free, and in pleasure and wanting and initiating intimacy. Okay, so number one, I'm only going to name number one because there's so many of them. I think there's like 20 of them that I wrote down. So let's dive in. The first one, I took responsibility for how I felt and I started working on my shit. I mean, when I say shit, I mean the pain underneath it all. I did this by first acknowledging that things were really challenging for me and then deciding that I was willing to do the work around body image and self-love to get where I wanted to be. This process was crucial because it marked the beginning of my journey towards healing and self-acceptance. I hired a coach, no shock there, or if you know me. I hired a coach and I committed to the work of healing my eating disorder and how I felt my body. This was a significant step as it provided me with the support and guidance needed to address the deep-seated issues. The commitment to this work was a testament to my determination to change and how I viewed myself and my body. I wanted to view myself and my body so much, I was willing to do whatever it took to get where I wanted to be. It's worth noting that I didn't believe that I could do this. I didn't know how. I just wanted it so badly. I was willing to do anything to try my best, to do my best. I educated myself on the topic of body image, self-love, and body confidence to be able to be myself during intimacy. I read about that shit in books, I listened in podcasts, and of course through my coach. Off the top of my head, the books that I recommend are there's a book literally called Pussy. I am not shitting you, by Mama Gina, she calls herself. You'll Google it. It's a great book. Pussy. Also a great one is Untamed by Glennon Doyle, I think the author is, with Untamed. I hired my coach specifically in women's kind. This was further along in my body image journey, actually, to be fair. But I did hire a coach called Sophia LePage, who helped me a lot connecting me to my femininity and my sensuality and sexuality as a woman, and asking for what I want and being able to love my body during intimacy. So have a play with those books. There's a podcast that Sophia LePage does. I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. There's a podcast that Amy Bukowski, if I pronounce her name correctly, there's a podcast that she does, and that's called, I think, Desire on Fire. Set your desire on fire. I'm just going to check my microphone because it's so annoying. I need to take this back. It from picking up the MacBook Pro speaker, which is what will happen when it goes quieter, and then it switches to my microphone. It's kind of very annoying, so apologies about that. So yeah, have a play with those recommendations and see where you get with this. Where was I? Okay, I practiced being kind and gentle with myself. I was struggling, and that's okay. I dropped the inner bitch attitude, which took a while, not gonna lie, and I kept choosing compassion over and over and over again. This shift in my mindset allowed me to treat myself with the care and the understanding I deserved, which was essential for my healing journey. I shared with my partner about how I was feeling about it all, and I asked for his understanding and patience. Open communication with my partner was key to creating a supportive environment where I felt safe to express my vulnerabilities. His patience and understanding played a crucial role in helping me to navigate my challenges. Now, I did pick the time that I shared this with him. It wasn't as intimacy was starting, because even to this day, I feel like that would be a big turn off for him and for me. Not that I was turned on much in the beginning because I was so much in shame around my body. But I picked a timing where no intimacy was being initiated, where, he wasn't distracted, he was calm, and I was too. And I just said, I have something I really want to share with you that's really uncomfortable for me to talk about. And I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to say it. And then I just blurted out, like, when we have sex, when we're intimate, I'm not fully being me, and I have so much fear around my body, etc., etc., etc. And here are the weird things that I do in order to protect myself from feeling this way, or in an attempt to protect myself from feeling this way. And he listened, and he didn't understand as in he didn't get it, but he understood. He took the time to listen and understand, and he was just supportive. And I asked him for his patience as I wanted to change this for myself. And I asked for his patience and support. And, I'm very blessed that he gave that to me. So share with your partner how you feel, but pick a good time. I got intimate with myself and practiced naked mirror work and mirror work wearing lingerie. I'd dance in front of the mirror to sexy tunes and I'd allow my body to move however she wanted to move. This practice helped me to embrace my body and its movements, fostering a deeper connection with myself and boosting my confidence in my appearance. I had a thing against lingerie because I used to wear a lot of nice lingerie when I was thin and I loved the way it looks. And I had a lot of resistance about treating myself to some beautiful, luxurious lingerie in a bigger body because I thought, what's the point? I remember one time I went to a lingerie shop with my now husband, Wouter, and he treated me for my birthday and he came with me into the changing rooms, which, oh my God, during my recovery was like the worst thing in the world because you and I both know what the lighting is like in changing rooms. And I was trying on bra and pants. Oh my God, I just wanted the floor to swallow me up. I felt so much shame and then anger, like, how dare he be looking at me? Like, I had a lot of anger because of the shame that I was trying to protect myself from. So we did end up getting like 3 sets of underwear. I also kind of put a mask on and pretended that I was fine, but inside I was like wanting to die. And I remember getting back home and in the safety of our own home, just crying into his arms. And he's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I was like, remember crying literally and through my tears saying, what's the point in buying beautiful underwear when you put it on a horrible, fat, ugly body? I don't see the point in it. It just feels like a waste of your money. And I just remember that so well because it was so painful for me. And so this is where I've come from, right? Those painful experiences to where I am now, it's completely possible. So yeah, I now, if I was to hold myself next to comparison of the past version of me, who was thin and had a six pack and blah, 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 I would probably, and I'm not sure, because I actually really love the way my body looks nowadays, but I would probably have a preference to the thinner body that I used to be in terms of how the lingerie looked. But I also don't give a shit anymore because I've done all this work and there's more to life. And you'll find out as I speak more on this episode, sexy, attractive, adoration isn't a look. It's not a body size. It's how you feel and how you are within yourself. So with lingerie that fit me, obviously there's a difference between getting lingerie and putting it on, even if you don't feel comfortable in the way it fits. But getting some lingerie that you actually like, that feels nice, that you can work with yourself. That's really important. And do some mirror work around it. Take photos just for you around it. That can be helpful too. I would also look for positive things about my appearance instead of only focusing on what I disliked. Whatever you look for, you will find. If you go to the mirror hating your body and wishing to be thinner, and why is this fat there, and why can't this cellulite just go away, and why this, why that, you're going to find more of those things because you are where your attention is. You've heard me say that countless times by now. So the shift in focus, aka I started focusing on what I liked about my appearance. It helped me to transform my self-image by deliberately seeking out what I liked about myself. I literally started with my eyes because I couldn't find anything else. And then it was my hair, and then it continued from there. I began to appreciate my body more and diminish the power of the negative thoughts. It takes effort, this work, and consistency, and you will feel pain when you're going through emotional pain, when you're going through this growth, and that's okay because we have growing pains in this work, and that's okay. I practice seeing myself as a whole person with a body instead of only individual body parts that weren't good enough in my eyes. This holistic view of my whole self, including my energy, my vibe, my smile, my height, because I'm dinky, like people are so surprised. They're like, when they meet me in person, they're like, wait, you have tall energy. Like, why are you so short? I thought you'd be so much taller. And I think you might know this already, but I'm 5'2.5". The half makes a big difference. So I'd see myself like in the cuteness that I am, you know? But this holistic view allowed me to appreciate myself and my body in my entirety rather than just fixing and fixating on perceived flaws. It was a practice of self acceptance and recognizing my worth beyond physical attributes. Remember, sexy is not a body size. I worked on choosing to feel sexy and turned on in front of the mirror and allowing myself to just let go. Oh, letting go, the best feeling ever. By consciously deciding to feel sexy. I know that sounds so freaking simple, but allow it to come into your awareness. Allow yourself to create a feeling of sexiness and being turned on. I empowered myself to embrace my sensuality and my sexuality, letting go of inhibitions in front of the mirror was a liberating experience that strengthened my confidence in intimate settings. I even self-pleasured in front of the mirror. A whole nother level, I know. I allowed myself to see myself in pleasure and let go. I had to work up to this, of course, and this was my coach. She wasn't there, obviously, but she encouraged me to do this. And when I hire a coach and I get given homework, I freaking do the homework, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, no matter how stupid I think it is, no matter how much I think it won't work or it won't help. I trust the coach I've hired, I pay my money, and I do the work and get the results, right? This practice, self-pleasuring in front of the mirror, it deepened my understanding of my body and my desires, helped me to cultivate a sense of self-acceptance and comfort within my own pleasure. I got to know myself and I got to know what I liked and what I didn't like by experimenting with myself. Excuse me. Through exploration and experimentation, I gained a clear understanding of my preferences and my boundaries. This knowledge empowered me to communicate my needs more effectively in intimate situations. Now, I mean, it might sound quite obvious to know what you like and what you don't like and what feels good and what doesn't. But because I was such a people pleaser, because I was a performer, because I was making it all about the person I was being intimate with, I wouldn't even know what I actually liked because I was faking it so much to make them have a better experience, or if they wanted to do things that I didn't want to do, I couldn't say no because I would want them in the past to see me as this ultimate, incredible, sexy, beautiful, adventurous, incredible in bed sex kitten, whatever it was I wanted them to see me as. Because then I felt enough, I felt valued, I felt adored, I felt safe, I felt powerful, etc., etc. So I didn't even know what the frigate I even liked, what I truly liked and what I truly didn't like. So I spent some time with myself and bought some toys and then now got rid of the toys because it desensitized me. But still, I brought them and experimented. So I invite you to do that too. This is a whole nother podcast episode, isn't it? Now, my queens. Okay, the next one. I focused on the connection between me and my partner. And when I say connection, I'm talking about emotional connection as well as physical connection. Our closeness, our trust, our relationship in general. Intimacy doesn't only mean physical. By prioritizing our bond, I strengthened the foundation of our relationship, which in turn enhanced the intimacy we shared. So start off with your intimacy journey with your partner by having intimate conversations, being vulnerable, sharing your fears, asking deep questions. Create a closeness between you that isn't physical to start with. And then you can be brought on into the physical, such as hugs and cuddles, and just holding each other or kissing more. I know that me and my partner, my now husband Wouter, there was a time, and sometimes this still happens. So actually, I think I need to bring it up again. But we're both as bad as each other. I asked him one time, like, why we don't kiss very much. Like, we give like a little kiss, like, bye, hello, love you, good night, whatever. But an actual, such an old school word I'm going to use, an actual snog, a French kiss. we don't do often or didn't do often at all unless we were having sex or being intimate. And I asked him why that was. And then he said to me, he's so honest with me, I love it. He said, the reason I don't let's use the word French kiss because I think that's the most appropriate word. The reason I don't initiate a French kiss is because I don't want to lead you on. And I don't want you to think that I want to have sex with you when I don't always want to. And that's fine too. He is a man, I promise. He doesn't always want to. So he would avoid giving me a proper kiss, in my opinion, because he didn't want it to lead to sex. So then we came up with an agreement where we would both be very honest with each other. And when he did start to, come on to me more, I would say outright, is your intention to have sex with me or is your intention just to be close to me right now? And then depending on what his intention was, because I was working on myself and I was able to say no. For example, if he came on to me when I was like writing a podcast episode, I would say, if your intention is to have sex, you're going to have to wait. But we can have a little moment now. But the boundary is we're not having sex because I'm in the middle of writing a podcast episode and that's my priority right now. So all this growth as a couple, personally, and in a relationship, it helps. So I don't even know how I went on a tangent there, but ask for what you want. This takes practice. Don't be afraid to share what's on your mind. Like I used to think if I said no to sex, then I was a bad girlfriend. Um, Now I'm a wife, but at the time since I've been a wife, I've been completely fine with all of this. I used to think I was a bad partner, a bad girlfriend. Like, what if he tells his mates that I never have sex? You see it on films all the time, like, oh, she's got a headache. Like, I allowed myself to play into that and I put his needs always before mine. Don't do that shit anymore. Full permission slip to stop doing that. Okay, next one. I created a comfortable environment, but not in a controlling way like I used to before. So I would have the room cozy instead of practically pitch black. I'd pop some nice music on in the background and I'd light a candle. This shift enabled me to relax and enjoy the experience without feeling the need to control every aspect of the environment. And so, environment is key, right? It's helpful to have a safe and supportive environment, but there's a difference between creating a nice, cozy environment or trying to control every aspect of the situation that you're afraid of happening because of the way you feel about your body. I put on sexy underwear or I got naked. Whatever supported me that day in feeling sexy and turned on, choosing what made me feel confident and sensual was key to setting the tone for intimate moments. The choice was about prioritizing my comfort and pleasure, creating an atmosphere where I could fully engage in the experience. There's a big difference between men and women. FYI, if you know this, which I'm sure you did, I'm sure you do. My microphone switched again. That is so annoying. Come back. There is a big difference between men and women in their sexual experiences. Men can go from 0 to 100 in like a second, so it seems. Women, me, need a bit more time. I mean, depending on the person, not gonna lie, thinking of some memories right now with some other people, but there's a difference. Like in general, like in a committed, loving relationship, it doesn't always happen like that, not always. So where even was I with this? My mind has gone to something it should not be going to right now. Come back. Literally, I've lost my train of thought. Where was I? Okay, I don't know. Have I missed something? Okay, yeah, that's it. Prioritizing. Ah, Victoria, come back in the room. Prioritizing my pleasure. I think that's what I was saying. Yeah, putting on sexy underwear, allowing myself to be turned on. Oh, yeah, that was it. Men and women are different. Back in the room, shit, here I am. It takes usually women a lot longer to get from 0 to 100. I mean, if your partner is hardly doing any foreplay, I mean, that's not for me. I mean, really, you see on some movies, like they kiss against a wall and all of a sudden, like everyone's hot and steamy, and then the penis goes in the vagina immediately. I mean, where's the fun in that? In my opinion, you need foreplay and more of it and more of it. I'm trying to like edit myself here because I don't even know if this will be published, if it's going to be allowed. But I want to be like fully surrendered and desiring deeply my man. I don't want to be like, oh, that's a bit too soon, like I'm not quite ready. Women take longer, and that is okay. There's a great Netflix series, if it's still on there, called uh, Love, Sex, and Goop. It's really good. And the Principles of Pleasure. So check those out with your partner too. I just need to take a breath. Okay. Second one, not second one, I've done about 15. Next one, I would give myself, this is really important, ladies, so listen up. I would give myself full permission to relax and let go and spend a lot of time. Initially, I spent a lot of time with my eyes closed because relaxation is the gateway to pleasure. By allowing myself to relax fully, I open the door then to pleasure and connection, and closing my eyes helped me focus on sensations and emotions and pleasure, which enhance the overall experience instead of just being concerned about how everything was looking. And I shared this with my partner because obviously, if you've got your eyes closed the entire time, might be a bit weird. But I shared with him, and I know I am very blessed to have such a loving, supportive partner. I shared with him that I'm probably closing my eyes a bit more than I might want to now, just to practice being in my body and receiving and experiencing pleasure instead of making it about what I think he thinks my body looks like, right? I would also focus on the feeling and the sensation of being intimate instead of what, like I was saying, what I or what he looked like. Shifting my attention away from appearances and towards sensory experience of intimacy allowed me to be more present. That is a key word, being present and connected during these moments. I would pretend, are you ready for this? I would literally pretend that he absolutely loved pleasuring me and that he would choose to do it all day long, every day, if he could. Now, this took a bit of imagination, and I'm not saying that he didn't thoroughly enjoy what he was currently doing during intimacy. Not gonna lie, I have had past partners who I honestly fully believe that they would do it all day, every day, and it was their favorite thing to do. That's not necessarily the case with my wonderful husband right now. But anyhow, I made up, complete make believe, but you know, your mind's very powerful, that he loved. I'm just going to say it. When he was down on me, right, I used to be like, oh my God, it's taking too long. Why don't you orgasm, Victoria? You need to hurry up. Oh no, down a bit, up a bit, but I didn't say that. So can you just please read my mind? And why is it taking so long? And yeah, you can imagine. So now I'm like, oh my God, he absolutely loves doing this. He would do this all day. He would do this for a full-time job if he could. He just loves and enjoying himself so much. Right. And that mindset, that creation allowed me to fully relax and fully immerse myself and receive the pleasure in the moment. And it created a mental space where I felt valued and desired, which enhanced the intimacy between us as well. There was one time, I mean, I am revealing everything today. There was one time that didn't support that, which is why I created it for myself. I think he said something like, oh, it tastes funny today. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not nice. Even though he's autistic, so he's very honest. He's very like black or white. He just is very blunt and says it exactly as it is, literally, which at least I know where I am with him. But from that one comment, because I wasn't fully healed yet, I allowed it to completely dictate how I felt about him going down there again. So I created a new experience for myself, and that's awesome right now. So there you go. Anyway, moving on. Um, where am I? Here we go. I would share with him what felt really good, and I would would give myself permission to receive that. I'm going to say that again. I would share with him what felt really good, and I would give myself permission to receive more of that, what felt good. By openly communicating my needs and desires, it allowed me to experience pleasure more fully. Giving myself permission to receive was a crucial step in embracing intimacy without guilt or without hesitation. Now, I don't know if you can relate, probably you can if you're listening to this episode. I used to feel bad. I used to feel guilty. I used to feel selfish if he was pleasuring me. And I'll be like, yeah, but what about him? What about him? What about him? That's part of not being able to receive as a woman, to be able to receive pleasure and not have to give in return. So a little exercise that I learned from Sophia LePage to do with your partner is on two separate occasions that cannot be within the same day of each other. You first of all have a pussy party or a pussy worship, whatever you want to call it. And he spends like half an hour, whatever time you decide between the pair of you, to fully focus on your pleasure and your pleasure only. And you focus on fully receiving. Ideally, it stops there at your pleasure. Depending on what man you have, good luck with that, but that's the goal. And then a few days later or the next week, you have a penis party or a penis worship where you spend the same amount of time purely pleasuring him. And again, it's all about him. So that was a great way, something that I really enjoyed experiencing. And also, I wrote a letter. It wasn't a letter. I wrote like a scenario of my ideal sexual experience and gave it to him and asked him to play it out. And it wasn't actually anything weird. Also, weird is fine. But it was just things like you start off by kissing my neck and then going a bit further down and then kissing me and teasing me that way, etc. Okay, I need to stop here, but etc. So sharing with him exactly how I desire it and then allowing that to play out, that's a really cool exercise. But you have to practice receiving. You have to practice receiving pleasure. So, talking about pleasure, he loved seeing me in pleasure. And believe it or not, he much preferred seeing me in pleasure, asking for what I want, making it about me as well as it being about him. He much preferred me being that way compared to me being in my old way of making it all about him. He could feel the difference. He could feel the way I surrendered and opened up to him, energetically, emotionally, and physically. The shift in dynamic brought us closer together, fostering a deeper connection and mutual enjoyment in our intimate moments. So he enjoyed thoroughly seeing me in true pleasure, not just like fake performative pleasure. He could feel, sense, know the difference. Only when I changed it though, because he didn't have anything to compare me to, right? But before. But it's all about being authentic, allowing yourself to fully surrender to the masculine. And it doesn't have to be a man or a woman physically, but we have the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And the feminine is surrendered. That's what the feminine is. The feminine is surrendered. It has desires. It's flowing. It lets go. It receives. The masculine gives. It provides. It's a rock. Literally. You'd hope so. Have you ever had it when it's not been that hard though, and it's been like a semi and you have to like bend it to get it in? Oh my God, am I even saying this? Yes, I am. Anyhow, yeah, the man is the masculine is the provider, is the strength, is the structure, is the giver, right? So even in physical intimacy, the vagina, the penis, the vagina receives, the penis gives, that kind of thing. So allow yourself to be in your feminine, surrendered, desiring, receiving. Okay. I mean, I didn't know this podcast was going to go this way, to be honest. So I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. And if you're not, then you're not. That's all there is to it. It is what it is, right? Where was I? Okay, this is an important part. I would take away any pressure for me to have an orgasm and I would just enjoy the experience. And I shared this with him too. And this is important, removing the pressure to receive a specific outcome allowed me to focus on the journey of intimacy rather than the destination, making the experience more relaxing and more fulfilling. Because, oh my God, excuse me. I hope you didn't hear that on the microphone. I just did an actual burp. Because I don't know if you experience this too, but sometimes you want to be close and intimate with your partner, but you're not that bothered about having an orgasm. I mean, you would always say yes to one, right? But you know what I mean. It doesn't always lead to one, and that's okay, because sometimes the sensation of just having him inside you, for lack of better words, and the closeness of that is more important than the actual energy ripple of an orgasm, right? Am I right or am I right? So I am getting hot in this room, and probably because the window's not open, which is a good freaking job, because people can hear me when I speak in this office with the window open outside. Okay, moving on. But this again, all of it's important, but this is really important. I would challenge myself lovingly when I felt exposed or anxious about the way my body looked during intimacy. When I noticed my body tensing and my thoughts and feelings spiraling with shame, I would relax. So I'd consciously choose to like relax, let it go, and focus instead on the sensations and the closeness of what I was experiencing with my partner. So let's say we changed positions, or the wind blew the curtains and the sun came streaming in, and then I'll be like, oh my God, cellulite, or what do I look like from this angle, or oh my God, look at my tummy roll, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. I would physically allow myself to relax and then focus on what I was experiencing and let go of the thoughts about what I look like and the shame, etc., etc. I would also adopt the attitude, which really helped me. Are you ready for the attitude? It's a sentence of fuck it. He really doesn't seem to be giving a shit about what I'm worried about in my head right now. He seemed to be thoroughly enjoying himself, because I'm not being funny. I don't want to sexualize here, but during intimate moments when you're both very turned on and intimate, I am going to be sexist here. Men, or the men I've been with, are really only that bothered about boobs, vagina, and ass. Now, obviously, there's more to it than that. Like, actually, my husband, he is so fucking sweet, because whatever position we do, we have, he always likes to, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am saying it. So here we go. He always likes to finish his experience of intimacy looking into my eyes. Like he can't experience a finish without looking at my face, because he says that's the most beautiful thing about me, especially when he looks into my eyes and he sees the connection and my energy. And that is so cute, right? Really fucking cute, if you ask me. But in general, let's be honest, they do not give a shit about the cellulite on your legs or the roll in your tummy. They don't care. So practice the fuck it attitude and like, fuck it. I'm here to have a good time, and he is having a good time, and allow that to happen for both of you. God, I've got a lot, haven't I? I would remind myself over and over again that he does not see me the way I see myself. That's crucial. Repeating this reminder was crucial in reshaping my self-perception. It helped me to let go of unnecessary worries and allowed me to trust in the affection and in the admiration my partner had for me. Just because you see yourself and your body the way you see yourself through your lens, he does not see you, he or she does not see you in the same way. I promise you that. You will see yourself in the most critical, judgmental way ever possible. People won't see that. Trust me. I'd push myself each time to show myself that intimacy was okay. It was okay to be in my natural, authentic body and have an incredible sex life and connection with my partner. For example, I would keep the room brightly lit after I'd taken the smaller steps from pitch black to dark to cozy to candles. I would just be like, fuck it, the lights can stay on, or I'm putting the lights on purpose, or I'm opening the curtains so the sun can come in on purpose. I would challenge myself with that. And that shit wasn't easy, but these gradual steps helped me to build confidence in my body and its ability to enjoy and express the intimacy. It's all about challenging yourself. And then when you have evidence that you can do the really scary thing, then it's easier to do it again and again and again. And that's how you grow and learn and condition yourself that it's fine. Honestly, action is everything. I would spend more time naked in general in the house without hiding away. This practice of being comfortable in my own skin, even in non-intimate settings, contributed to a greater sense of self-acceptance. So instead of waiting for him to leave the bathroom before I would even think about getting in the shower, I would just go into the bathroom, get naked, and get in the shower when he was brushing his teeth, for example. Again, at the beginning, it was so exposing and so uncomfortable. And I had a lot of like resistance to that. But I was like, fuck it. If I want to like be okay being naked around my fucking husband, for God's sake, I think he was my fiance at the time when I was going through this, then I need to take the action, right? And just self-soothe through it all and understand that. Because what I used to do, I used to try and be the perfect woman for him. So I only thought I would only allow him to see me at certain angles or in certain lighting or looking a certain way. When actually marriage or a long-term relationship committed is more than that, more than just seeing your body as perfect as possible. And he said to me one time, I know what you look like. Like, I know what your body looks like. Like, you can't fool me. I see you. And then I was like, fuck, he does. I've not been able to control my body in a way that I thought I had been able to before. He knows what I look like, naked, with clothes on, without. So who gives a shit if he doesn't see me as what I used to think I was letting him. Wait, who gives a fuck if he no longer sees me in the way that I thought I was controlling him to see me, which I wasn't anyway, so I wasn't successful at that. I'm a real person. And you know, one of the most beautiful things he said to me about my body's appearance, as I gain weight in recovery, he said, "You have a real woman's body." And that's one of the things I love about you. You have a real woman's body. And to him, that means curves and lumps and bumps and squidgy bits. And he loves that. And now I love it too. So, talking of that, the next one, I would allow myself and him to see the real me. And if he didn't accept the real me and my real body, then I would find someone who did. Not because I couldn't be by myself. I would make sure I gave that to myself first. But I knew that I deserved someone who respected me, appreciated me, and had adoration for all of me, including my natural, authentic body. He does, by the way, but in my mind, this mindset, it was empowering as it reinforced my belief in my worthiness and the importance of being with a partner who truly values me. By embracing my authentic self, I created space for a relationship built on mutual respect and genuine connection. I celebrated myself for lovingly pushing myself and doing the work. Because, like I said, it's not easy. I repeated, no, I didn't. I reaped the benefits. I also repeated a lot of things to then be able to reap the benefits of more relaxation, more pleasure, more freedom, more closeness with my partner and myself. This self-celebration is crucial in acknowledging the progress I made and the positive changes in my life and my relationship and the intimacy. By recognizing my efforts, I reinforce the value of the journey and the rewards that came with it, fostering a deeper connection with both myself and my partner. Almost at the end now. We've been going 45 minutes just as a solo pod. Lucky you, hey? I showed myself via my actions that it was safe, okay, and damn right amazing to be intimate in the body I had. and the body I have right now. And you can too, in the body you have right now. Feeling sexy and confident is not a look. Feeling sexy and confident is not a body size. It's a mindset and a feeling that you get to create for yourself. Believe it or not, you do. And trust me, your partner will not be complaining. Your partner would much rather have you as a woman in her true, authentic, raw, and natural body, in her empowerment, in her pleasure, in her authenticity, in her power, than have a woman in the perfect body with none of those things, looking for approval, performing, etc. Intimacy isn't only about appearance. It's about so much more than that. This realization transformed my approach to intimacy, allowing me to focus on the emotional and sensual aspects rather than just the physical. By cultivating this mindset, I was able to fully embrace the experience and connect with my partner on a deeper level. Remember, intimacy is a journey, and it's perfectly okay to take your time. Take it at your own pace, push yourself, but be loving and gentle with yourself as you navigate these feelings. It's a crucial part of the process. Healing your relationship with your body in terms of body image, deepening your sense of self-worth and self-love is crucial. I encourage you to do the work necessary to reach the place where I am, a place of total freedom and liberation in my body, in myself, fully enjoying all what my body allows me to experience. I want this for you too, as well as food freedom, of course. So that's the end of the episode. Have I got anything else to add to this? I think I've said a lot. Let me know if this has helped. But honestly, as always with growth and healing, you have to leave your comfort zone with self-compassion and support, someone who's been there, done that. You have to leave your comfort zone. Obviously, in intimacy, you can be intimate with yourself, absolutely, but in a relationship, it takes two. So you do need to be communicating with your partner and sharing with them your feelings, again, at the right time, asking for what you want, communicating. Like me and Wouter, my husband, at some point in the next few years, we are going to be going into relationship coaching. The amount of people that come to us with relationship stuff, and at the minute, we're not relationship coaching experts yet, but oh my goodness, the secret to an incredible relationship, in my opinion, is number one, working on yourself. Each of you have to work on your own shit. You have to take full responsibility for that, and you have to work on yourself. And the biggest one, number two, is communication. People don't communicate. Women think men should be mind readers. I used to be there too. We don't communicate. And then when we do communicate, we accuse and point fingers. So instead of saying, oh, you never empty the dishwasher and I always ask you to do it and you said you would and blah, 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 been there. You could approach it in a different way, like, oh, sweetheart, is there any reason why you didn't empty the dishwasher after we had our conversation and you said that you would? Like, I'm curious why that didn't happen. And there's a great book called Non-Violence Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, which isn't about relationships. It's about communication. So you're in a relationship with every person you interact with, doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but there's ways of communicating that is both respectful to yourself and to your partner, that isn't accusing. I mean, we're going to have our own triggers. We've got our own shit. But we have to take responsibility for that, work on ourselves, communicate, work on your relationship, let go of the fantasy of like the movies, and also don't settle. I think there's a lot more to it than I was saying, but yeah, any questions around any of this episode? I don't know why I keep hiccup burping. You know where I am. Let me know if you enjoyed this rather vulnerable episode. And thank you to the lovely lady who asked this question and prompted this episode. And my loves, I will see you next week. Mwah. All the love.